Hello and welcome to Edinburgh Business Stories. EBS is hosted by myself, Alex Richards of Umore, a video production studio based in Edinburgh and Bristol, and Alan Smith of Action Coach, providing business coaching throughout Edinburgh and the Lothians. If you aren't already, remember to subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this upcoming episode of Edinburgh Business Stories. Ross, William, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
So just give us a snapshot of who you guys are and what your business is.
I'm William Smillie.
I'm Ross.
We are joint managing directors of BE Uniforms. We're based in the Scottish borders, and we have 5 retail shops at the minute, and as well as a factory in the borders. We currently employ about 130, which goes up to around 200 in our summer peak. And we are specialists in embroidery and printing for teamwear, workwear, and school uniforms.
Amazing. Right. So it will be interesting to talk about what it's like working with your brother, because I think that'll be a fun conversation because I don't have a great experience of that. But anyway, let's go back to the beginning. How did this all start?
Mum and Dad started the company in 1989. Mm-hmm. So they had a single head embroidery machine in their bedroom, actually. So I think they started off doing just bits and pieces, you know, like baby items, putting names on it, different bits like that. But I think it all kicked off when Scotland won the Grand Slam in 1990. Yeah. And they ended up getting a lot of work through that. So
I think they were running the machines like 24/7. So my dad would do night shift, my mum would do the day shift. Yeah. So just ran this machine full tilt so they could get as much out, and then it meant they could afford to buy a bigger machine.
So wait a minute, how did they manage to sleep then if this was in their bedroom?
Maybe sleeping on the couch.
I think at the same time, actually, because our sister Ainsley was born in was Ainsley born in 1989?
Yeah, 89. Yeah, so it would just be before.
It was at the same time as having their first kid. Then so.
Wow. So what was it about the Grand Slam? And forgive my ignorance here. So obviously
I think they've done like merchandise and polo shirts off the back of it. So they had like a logo.
Yeah.
I think it would be 4 nations at the time. I don't think it was actually 6 nations. I might be wrong in that. So they would do embroidered polo shirts, and they would feed it into the shops in like say Edinburgh and things like that.
Right.
So yeah, so it's more just merchandise.
But it wasn't legit, was it?
I don't totally.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because
I'm a wee bit unsure on that one.
Yeah,
unsure,
maybe not bring it up.
We're going to get done for that. SRU straight on the phone.
Oh, fascinating. So that was the beginning. And so how did it get from the point of being like in the bedroom to being like actually in a shop? And what was that journey?
I think so for the first sort of 10, 15 years, it was just a case of building slowly. We done a lot of work for various local primary schools, businesses, clubs. There was, it gradually expanded, and then we done a lot of what they call contract embroidery. So that's where we would do the embroidery for other people. So, for example, in Hawick, there's the knitwear factories in Hawick. So every day they would go through there and get boxes of like knitwear, cashmere, lamb's wool jumpers, and they would bring them back to Greenlaw to be embroidered. And that really sort of kept the machines going full time, and then it meant that we could sort of build. It's not a huge amount of money in that, but because you're working for somebody else essentially, but what it does is just kept the wheels going, and then it allowed for expansion. So yeah.
And again, you'd mentioned that you're doing the contract embroidery for some pretty big brands, right?
Yeah. So we've done. There was Lyle and Scott.
Yeah.
We've also done. They've got all the logos on file. Barbour, Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
Some Barbour.
So they would basically ship the stock up to you just as plain garments, and then you would put on the.
Yeah, that's
on.
right.
And it's pretty specific as well. So
they
would give you measurements of exactly where the logo had to be.
Yeah.
I think it's quite I don't know if it's an industry secret, but it's not a commonly known thing that like one factory in Hawick produces the garments for worldwide brands. The renowned brands, Barbour, Burberry, Fred Perry. It all came out the same factory essentially, but we just put a different logo on the chest and a different neck label goes on the back, and it gets shipped out.
And I guess, it's interesting to kind of understand how all that came about as well, because to your point, is every business starts as a small back bedroom type operation. But, to then get some of those kind of brands now coming to you, we've kind of jumped almost quite quickly to that, but that comes with surely quite a lot of effort and graft that either your folks or you guys have put in.
Yeah, for sure. To be fair, I think it would be, They do a lot of the work they would have done a lot of the work at the factories in Hoyk, and then they just kind of, right, we've got a huge order has arrived for Barbour or Fred Perry or whoever it might have been, and then they just ship it to us and we would fulfill it for them. So
yeah,
it's interesting
because textiles and clothing's big deal in the borders.
Definitely as well. Obviously, it was years ago for certain, and especially in Hoyk, but it's not quite the same as what it was like now as what it was back then, but definitely a big deal. There was actually a Jaeger factory in Greenlaw, so I think that was also how it was. The guy that run the Jaeger factory said to my mum and dad at the start, you should get into embroidery. So that's where the idea all came about. So
what does it really take to grow a business in Scotland today? This episode of Edinburgh Business Stories is brought to you by Henderson Logie, chartered accountants and business advisors who help owner-managed businesses grow, from those first steps as an entrepreneur through to a happy retirement. Based right here in Scotland, Henderson Logie knows what it takes to succeed locally. And through their membership of Prime Global, they help clients thrive internationally too. Their purpose? Helping their people, clients, and communities unlock their full potential, building legacies, creating wealth for local communities, and opening doors to future success. To learn more, get in touch with the Edinburgh team at Henderson Logie today.
Okay. So they're in the borders, gradually building up some of these cool brands. Like, what's the progress then out of the borders and kind of the expansion from there?
So I think my dad took on a rep, John Irvin, and he was he ended up being a schoolwear rep for us. So he ended up going into they got some luck and success in the schools. So he started going around, especially all the border schools, but then just started broadening the field out of it. And just one by one, they started building up this portfolio of schools. And had good success. So that, obviously that meant in the summertime for back to school, it was very busy, especially in the lead up to the summer. It was the ordering patterns were different back then, but in May, June, it was extremely busy. And then they would have to get everything ready for, a lot of the time it was before the schools broke up, so they could hand the orders out to parents. And then some of the orders would creep into just a couple of days before the schools go back. They just built that up until they opened the first schoolwear store in Glasgow in 2005, I think that was. It was a national schoolwear centre store, so it was part of a franchise. He was a franchisee. My dad learned everything he knows about retail from this national schoolwear centres. So they gave him a big book. I think he's actually still got it, the big white book of words it was called, How to Retail.
Wow, okay.
And
and sorry, the National Schoolwear Centre, that was a franchise brand, which your dad then became a franchisee of in Glasgow.
So we took it up in Glasgow first in 2005 because it was one of the areas that didn't have a shop. And the following year, I think it was, or maybe even 2007. So maybe in a year or two later, we bought the franchise in Wishaw as well. So Wishaw, of all places, it's quite a random town in Scotland to be opening a shop. But we went to Wishaw next, and well, not long after that, actually, it was somewhat lucky because it sounds like it might not be, but the National Schoolwear went under. They went in administration, but it kind of just left us with these two shops that we had. So we weren't having to pay a franchise fee. They had taught us how to retail. They had helped us build up the sort of business and understand how it all works. But then you're sort of just left with it. So we were like, well, this is quite handy. So now we get to keep all the money. We can do whatever we want. Because before you're obviously paying a fee on franchises. They're telling you where you have to buy things from and all that. So somewhat lucky, a lucky break. And yeah, after that, it was just all systems go in the schoolwear front. So we just kept pushing on. And yeah, it was probably 2009, we opened a shop in Falkirk.
Yeah.
And then 2011, we bought the old National Schoolwear franchise in Ayr.
Yeah.
And roughly this time, we were buying various small businesses as well, because people were just coming out of it. So yeah, that was sort of, there was 3 or 4 businesses we bought. I think we bought one in Falkirk, one in Stirling. Yeah, and that was the sort of build up into retail.
And sorry, these are, when you say buying the businesses, are these embroidery businesses
Well,
that
there were sort of like smaller schoolwear businesses.
Okay.
Yeah, there were people that done schoolwear, but so at this point, 2000, like late 2009, 10. I think at that point we would probably have about 45 staff down in the Borders. So it wasn't, we weren't huge, but we were still significantly bigger than some of these guys that have just got like one shop and a couple running it.
Yeah.
They maybe done uniform for 20 or 30 schools, maybe more. But yeah, we were just, a lot of them just had enough. And it's continued to be like that, sort of that generation of sort of, what was it, baby boomers they call them. And so yeah, they realise that it's just a lot of hard work, especially in the summertime. So at that point, we were just sort of taking over a few businesses. So.
Got it.
And excuse my ignorance around the schoolwear stuff, but basically this problem you solve is schools just say, we just need to sort the uniform. And then parents order directly through the school or through you, or what?
Yeah, so it used to be different. So before the days of online ordering, used to be that schools would hand out paper order form to all of the kids within the school. They would take them home, fill in the size that they want, hand it back into the school, pay the school, and the school would send us one big envelope of, a lot of them actually faxed them down a lot of the time, believe it or not. That only just stopped a few years ago, schools using faxes. But
Really?
yeah, believe it or not,
That's crazy.
finally cut off our fax line. But
Wow.
yeah, they would send down, so in May and June especially, but May, the postman would come in every day with like stacks of envelopes for us, and that's what we used to do. So it was like, we'd have to go through all these order forms and collate them up. So we had like a template that we used, and it was like sweatshirts, right? What size did they want? And you were just going through everyone. And
Oh my Lord.
so I'd find myself, that's what when I was like an age that my dad trusted that I could count. That's what I got roped into doing. So William spent a lot of the time maybe on an embroidery machine and whatnot, and I was there helping him collate order forms together. And my dad's dad, so my grandpa, he was at home doing the same thing. So it was just like we'd come in every day and split the pile into a third each and start collating these order forms together to create one big order. But it sounds a lot of work, but it was actually brilliant, because you got this big order of all the same uniform that you could then go and process all at the same time. Whereas nowadays, with the online ordering, the parents go online and order it themselves.
Oh.
So it's open 24/7, 365 days of the year. So they can go on and order it whenever they want. So we are now getting these individual orders, average about 3 garments, maybe 3 or 4 items in an order at any time. So
Oh, wow.
we've had to completely shift our model, because rather than them all ordering in April and May, ready for a delivery back to the school before it closed for the summer, now obviously everybody leaves it till last minute. So the peak of the orders come in the middle of July, and we've then got to get them all delivered mainly to the homes, directly to the parents. But like we said, we've had to shift our production. So rather than the school, we're now going through like a bulk production facility. We invested in a whole load of single head embroidery machines, meaning that you can put 2 or 3 garments through the same machine just to keep them running, rather than like a bulk production facility.
So those two things alone then must create that's inefficiency going back into what was quite an efficient process, really.
Yeah, no, definitely. So one of the problems we're facing at the minute is the cost of school uniform. It's widely talked about in papers and in the news, and but it's one of the things that a lot of people just don't understand, that nowadays the cost of producing an item of school uniform is significantly higher than what it was even 20 years ago, 25 years ago, just because we're dealing with if you take an average high school might be 1,000 pupils, so you might get 1,000 separate orders.
Yep.
Whereas 20 years ago, you were getting one order of 1,000 garments.
Yes.
So it's so much more efficient to do one order of 1,000 than it is to do 1,000 orders of one.
Well, that plus then individual delivery points as well,
definitely.
as opposed to...
it's so many touch points.
Wow,
and
okay.
so that's what bumps the price up. And a lot of people don't understand that, So
That's so interesting that like the technology has created inefficiency.
yeah. No,
Like,
definitely.
okay, counting individual, like that's
Yeah.
not very efficient. But the production side was way more efficient.
Yeah,
definitely.
100%.
We're saying to the schools these days, like, go back to the paper order form way of doing it, and we're actually trying to build systems in house at the minute to try
Consolidate
and
them.
bring the old way of the order forms,
Yeah.
but modernize it into a system that the schools can use, so that they can potentially go out to the parents and say, look, you can order it all online, but it's going to create a bulk order as such. So
But we still do offer the old system.
Yeah.
So to schools, we'll say to them, right, well, if you want it cheaper, we can do it this way. You have to hand out the order forms and collect the bulk order. They're like, the secretaries in the office are just like, nah, I don't want anything to do with that. We have to collect money. We have to deal with parents. We have to deal with any problems that might arise, like it's maybe the wrong size they've ordered. And they're just like, nah, let you deal with all that. But with that, it costs us. So
So you have to pass that on.
essentially, yeah.
That's funny that you give them the option, but because ultimately the gate, the person at the school is just like, can I be sacked?
Yeah.
Which is fair. Like you can understand it from that, but yeah,
I think the schools have got a lot less admin than what they used to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, so it's just the way it is these days. So
yeah.
So okay. So the story so far is that we've gone from the borders, then into retail, and then a number of retail outlets as well, but
so
all within schoolwear as well.
Yeah. So
okay.
I think that would be 2000. I think we got to 2011. We opened it in Ayr. Then 2015, we took over another shop in Dundee, which was the schoolwear shop, and we actually relocated that to a nicer shop, and then we bought the National Schoolwear Centre, which was in Kirkcaldy just after that, 2017, I think it was. And so at that point we had 6 shops, all schoolwear.
And so you've pretty much just gone round and bought up all of the ex-franchisees.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right.
So, yeah,
there's a few more out there, but yeah, got a few. A lot of them just crossed our path, and also we knew certain areas that we wanted to be in. Like there was areas that we'd done a lot of the schools in that area, but we just didn't have a base there, so it made sense.
And that sort of brought us into sort of after 2017, it became schoolwear started. We noticed everything was moving online at that point. So we started our website maybe 2010, I think. So it was quite a while back. But we were compared to a lot of people in the schoolwear industry, especially, we were right at the front foot of the website stuff. So we created this website, and the website was really took off sort of 2015, 2016. By 2018, 19, we were looking at it thinking, right, this is really taking a lot of sales away from the shop. So we were deciding, right, what can we do here with regards the shops, because at some point, if we don't do something, the shops are not going to be viable. So we did try a few different things. My mum tried selling kids' clothing. That didn't really work. And then we'd done a lot of association wear, like brownies, Cubs, Scouts and things like that, dance wear. The margins weren't good enough for us to really make it work. So I think late 2019 we decided we'd go for a rebrand, because at that point we were called BE Schoolwear above the doors. So we went for a bit of a rebrand. We thought if we say uniforms, we could put workwear in, we could put teamwear in. We've always done a lot of workwear and teamwear in the borders for all the local clubs, the local businesses. So we made that plan, and actually we had a meeting to discuss it. March 2020, the very start of March 2020. So we created this huge plan. We're about to roll it out, and then COVID hit. So it was just like, well, that was a bit, put a massive spanner in the works, halted us in our tracks, and we're just like, so it never really got launched until probably maybe late 2020, maybe early 2021 even.
Yeah.
So so it was, but that was the sort of direction of travel that we thought we need to do more teamwear and more workwear to give us a bit more of a spread, I suppose, and rather than just relying on the schoolwear piece. So yeah.
And so you guys are, but at this point, 2020, you guys are firmly in the business. What was at what point did you guys start to like be more involved past just like in at the weekends? Do you know what I mean? Like what point, or maybe it wasn't, maybe you've just always worked there full time.
We have always been there. I think we have always been there, even school holidays, weekends and whatnot. We've always been involved, but I left halfway through 6th year at school. I just decided that enough was enough for me, and I knew I was going to join anyways, so I was just in there. And that's when at the same time, like William said, the website was just kicking off. So there was a lot of kind of exciting stuff happening, and so I just got firmly involved then.
Yeah.
I was slightly different. I think I started in the summer holidays working in an embroidery machine when I was 14. So that was painful because, when all your friends are away playing, my dad's like, right, you're on that machine there for 6 weeks. So it was torture. But and then I think I left school in 2008. And at that point, there was absolutely no chance I was joining the family business. Like the last thing I wanted to do was embroidery. But I'd done a full year to save up to go to university. So I went to Edinburgh Uni to do geology of all things. So I started the course in September 2009, I think it was, and literally every single day my dad phoned me to ask me when I'm coming back, when are you coming back, when you come, and I'm like, no. And then eventually I succumbed. I ran out of money, I think in January 2010 I ran out of money, so I was like, he asked me and I'm like, I'll be back in 3 weeks. So I get the second freshers week after that. I was like, I'll get that in, and then I'll get end of January. I'll come back then at the start of February. So I had a bit of fun before I came back.
So, but wait, you're kind of laughing at it. But was your dad? What was the question he was asking?
Genuinely, he thought that we should be coming into the family business. He just thought, right, this is it. He doesn't think that he thought it was a waste of time going to university, because he says you're going to come back here and work anyways. And yeah, that was his.
You just didn't know it.
It was just going to be a waste of money going to university and a waste of time, because but he's never done any of that, so he didn't. So it's not. I think from an experience point of view, like in my opinion, I would still, if it was my kids, I would be pushing them to go to university and experience different things. But my dad just felt like it was a waste of time, because I was going to end up back at the business anyways. Why would you get yourself in a huge amount of debt to then just have to come back anyways? So that was his thought process. And to be fair, there's a lot of people that end up doing that. You see a lot of family businesses, and the kids end up working in the family business anyways. So that was where we were. And then from there, I came in. I was a man. I'd done designs for a long time, and then I'd done embroidery. Then I'd done designs. Then I looked after the shops for maybe 2010 to 2015. I was sort of overseeing the shops, and then I moved into sales. So after that, so yeah, that was sort of and then I gradually just sort of progressed. So
on that point, how do you organise yourselves now then?
So it used to be a bit more mixed, but we've divvied up our roles. So I'm more operations and finance sort of stuff, and William does the sales and marketing. Right. So that's how we do it now. So we actually, it fits in together quite well, because I know like enough. I used to do more probably the marketing and branding. William actually done more of the operations. But because we've done that, we actually can bounce off each other quite a lot, and help each other out. So it slots in pretty well. So it's good.
And why did you switch then? Yeah,
I think just because the operations and the finance probably fits together more, and it's definitely more based at the head office in Greenlaw. And the sales and marketing fits together probably a bit better as well. So obviously the marketing really influences the sales and whatnot. So, and it's also was to do with the shops and the reps out on the road. So William was probably less at Greenlaw.
I was probably more suited to doing the sales piece. getting out there and speaking, well, probably just speaking nonsense to people, you know.
That's what sales is, right?
Cold calling, you know. I don't mind doing any of that. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I just love going and speaking to people.
Yeah.
You know, like they say, like I'll get back and they'll say, "Oh, where have you been today?" And I was like, "Oh, I had a great conversation with this guy up in Dundee about something that was nothing to do with uniform." But it's just good. You get to walk into a business and just speak to people. It's great. I love it. So.
Yeah. So would you literally? I mean, what does cold calling look like? Is that still a thing for you guys?
No, definitely. So in the last sort of in the last probably, I don't know, 6 months or so, we've sort of said to the team, look, I want more cold calling, because it's not something that's as prominent these days. You know, you don't see that many people doing it. People tend to use emails, or maybe they just have a website for gathering sales. But I was like, wait, let's just go back to the old school knocking doors and just speaking to people. And I just think it works. People love, if you're confident enough to go and speak to people and you knock on the door, you do get a lot of success, because people are quite receptive to it now, because they're not getting their door knocked that much.
So what's your pitch then when you knock on the door?
Yeah, I'll be totally honest.
Just do it right now. Just walk. Like
I have this thing. I have this theory, right? That because we've had our doors knocked at the factory loads of times.
Yeah.
I hate somebody coming in and giving me a hard sell.
Yeah.
So I just go in and just speak to people just like normal, and they, I think they're quite receptive of it, and then you end up just like sort of getting some information out of them. So who do you currently use? Can you give me the person who deals with your uniform? Can I get a contact, and I can send you some prices? And they're generally quite sound about it. And then you get in the door and hopefully get an order. It does work.
I think it lets them see that you're genuine and real people. Do you know what I mean? Because there's so many like workwear, teamwear, schoolwear businesses out there. Do you know what I mean? We're not the only ones. So it's to actually, for people to be able to see you and see, like I say, that you're a real person, and now I've actually got a contact. It's not just someone behind an email. So to be fair, like my dad's been a big driver of that. He's a firm believer, and you have to be, getting out there and in front of people and all that.
A guy told me I was out the other month, and I had the young lad that works in the office, so I was like taking him out. I say he's my apprentice, but he's not really, you know what I mean? He's not an apprentice, but I had him out, and I was like, right, we'll go in here. And then one of the guys we knocked on, he's like, I'm glad to see you. We've never had anybody cold calling for a while. And I've always said, if you don't knock on the door, it won't open. So that was something that stuck with me. I tell everybody that if you don't knock on the door, it won't open.
Very
good. There you go.
Very good.
So, talking about your dad, then how has that transition been from, the boys are coming in, he always wanted you in, and now you're in, and now he's like, oh no, what's the?
We'll have a lot. It's probably still ongoing, to be quite honest. So it was actually just the other day I sent William a picture of this, but actually one of the members of staff at work sent me a picture of the letter that we sent out in 2021 from my dad to all the staff to say that from this day onwards, William and Ross are now the joint managing directors of the business, and to go to them for any problems and all that different sort of stuff. So that was 2021, and like I say, it's still an ongoing thing, this passing over the business, because
push them out slowly.
So
is it a family joke now, or is there any kind of?
It's always a family joke that we just can't get him out. No matter what we do, he's still there. We get there in the morning and he's there before us. We're about to finish at night, and he's coming in to switch the lights off and that, and you're just it's like. No matter, we're like, can you not go and play golf or go on holiday or just do something? He just can't. He just can't let go, because it's like his baby. It's like no matter what we do. But
What about your mum? Is she let go?
No, she's still there as well.
I think she would let go. To be fair, she could.
Yeah. She's not as, my mum's like easy going, so you know what I mean. So my mum being there is great. She comes in the morning, makes everybody still teas and coffees in the office and whatnot, and just chats to everybody. Helps with mum can turn her hand to anything, so because she's been there from the start. So she's, I think at the minute, does a bit of credit control and things like that. So is what she's doing. But
makes lunches for loads of people.
When they come in, so got a name for it, or hospitality. So, but mum's good. My dad's harder work, like, because it's his baby. Do you know what I mean? So obviously my mum was there from the start, but my dad's just on everything. So he's when we put that letter out in 2021, we were finding that even though we'd sent the letter out, nothing much was really changing. At that point, my dad still had his own office. We were in the main office along with everybody else. So we've got a business advisor that helps us out, and he says, you need to like make a statement here. You need to move into your dad's office, and he comes out of it. So that's what we've done. So we kind of revamped his office about a bit, made it a little bit cooler. Put our desks in, so me and William's now in there. My dad's now out in the main office. There's your desk over there. Took his computer off of him as well. So he's now got an iPad with only his emails on it, because for a long time he actually had everybody's emails on his computer. A copy of every email that came into the business, which is not back then, it was nowhere near as many as there is now, but it was still a lot, and he could see everything that was happening. So we took them off of him, took his computer off of him. You're out in the main office. But slowly but surely, he's like managed to gravitate back into our office. So the coffee table that sits in the corner of our office is now my dad's desk. And so yeah, like sometimes it's actually worse than what it was before, because if you're wanting to take a phone call or anything like that, before in the main office you could have a phone call and they wouldn't hear it, whereas now you can be on the other end of the phone and he's only hearing your side of the call, and as soon as you come off the call, who was that then? What was that about?
We could sit in a meeting and thrash out a plan of what we're doing for something like the summer, what we're going to do this summer. We maybe rejig that bit, we do that. We make this big plan, and then we come out, we're all united, and then a few hours later, my dad's already been down to the factory and he's doing it his way. And we're like, that's not what we agreed to.
I've been thinking about it.
I've thought about it. We're doing it this way though. And whatever.
So tell us, let's go back then. So we bought the Kirkcaldy shop then, and there's more shops as well, isn't there?
So I think it was probably late 2020. Late 2020, we'd done the pivot towards teamwear and workwear. We put that in store. We rebranded the BE uniforms. And it was still in the middle of COVID, late 2020. I think we were just about to have another lockdown, and my dad actually phoned me. He was out by the Corn Exchange in Edinburgh, and he says, I've just drove past the shop and it looks like it could be perfect for us.
Bearing in mind, this was a moment of consolidation for us. This is what we'd said, again, sat in a meeting, let's consolidate. Like, we've got 6 shops, we're doing a lot more work than what we used to do. COVID's here, let's consolidate, let's just have a period of not too much change and just make do with what we've got.
That seems sensible.
Anyway, it would seem sensible.
So he's driving past the shop and he said, I've just seen it'd be a cracker for us. So I was like, right, we'll have a look at it. So I had a look, and then we went to the estate agent, had a look around the shop, but for whatever reason, I don't know, we never really went for it. But then we've seen another one, and my dad decided that's the one for us. But around about the same time, the old National School Centre in Carlisle, there was an older couple in there, and they were selling up, and they were like, "Do you want to buy the business?" And so we're like, we can't open a shop in Edinburgh and buy the one in Carlisle
in a period of consolidation.
And then to just add further complex to the matter, there was one in Newcastle. So we're like, right, wait a second here. We need to really think about what we're doing here. Because we said we were consolidating, and we can't look at, there's 3 options here. What are we doing? We can't do them all. And probably about 4 weeks later, we sat around the table, and we had a new shop in Edinburgh. We bought a business in Carlisle, and we were opening a shop in Newcastle. So I'm like, how does that work? And my dad's like, you boys go and sort it out. Get on with it. I'm like, oh my God, this is just not ideal. So we had three extra shops.
It was a shop fit needing done in Edinburgh, a brand new shop. And then the one in Carlisle, we moved to a brand new shop. So it was a shop fit needing done there, and also the one in Newcastle.
Yeah, because I think we were furloughed at the time, early 2021. But we were working in the shop in Edinburgh. We'd done the shop for ourselves, so me and the van driver were quite handy with the tools. So we drove up every single day with a van load of wood and tools and just got on with the shop fit. So it was I enjoyed it. I loved it. It was this period of not actually although you're working, but just doing DIY essentially and getting paid for it. So felt like good. So
Nice.
Yeah. So, you've opening these new spots and there's a cafe. Where's that for?
So that was obviously the shop's been open that was 2020, 2021. And then, so this is just now last year, so 2024. And what we found is just with the sales are only going one way, which is online, to be honest. So there was a long time there where any schools and whatnot that we were doing in the shops, we never put them on our website. But then at that same time as when COVID hit, obviously the shops were shut. So we had to put all these schools that we had supplied in the shops, we had to put them online. So then after that, it's like people said out there that it actually it speeded up online sales by about 10 years, that shift. So after that, we've seen this is not going to go back to the way it was. Once the shops reopened, it did go back. They did pull some of the sales back, but it was never going to go back to where it was. That's when we tried the selling the teamwear and workwear within the stores, which worked as good, but we were still like, there's that bit missing, like especially throughout the summer, we're extremely busy in the shops. But there's that part from like September right the way through till May, where it's like we've got the shops, we've got the staff, we've got the costs, we could be doing something in there. Like, what could we do? And we always had in our head about putting a coffee shop in. And then again, one day we just sat down around the table in a meeting on a Monday morning and decided, let's do it. So that's when we launched the idea of Smillie's Coffee Bar in the Carlisle shop. So the front, it was perfectly situated for it. So the back of the shop's now the schoolwear shop, and the front of the shop as you come in is Smillie's Coffee Bar. So it's it's good. Speciality coffee. We both love coffee. So pretty interested in it, and opened the shop at the coffee shop at the front again. Done the shop fit ourselves, so it's quite proud of that one. And
And how does it then complement, other than the obvious? Do you actually feel like it drives physical sales within the in the uniform business, or is it?
Probably not. But what's happened a lot with the shops is that people were doing click and collects more. So what we were finding is the sales were dropping in the shops, but you were still getting a lot of footfall because people were coming in to collect their stuff, their online orders, to save them paying a delivery fee. So they would come in and collect their parcel, but at the same time they're buying a coffee when they're on their way out. So you do get the footfall for the school side.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's quite good in that respect. So, but combined, it's just meant it's more viable all year round. So that's
it's near enough. Obviously, there is some extra costs with staff and like
of course,
and whatnot.
But
other than that, like your fixed costs, your rent, rates, utilities, and whatnot, it's all the same. Except for you're getting this added extra sales from the coffee shop.
We did think that in 2021, when we had this focus towards teamwear and workwear, like that'll bring so much more to the shops. So we put a lot into it, but it didn't happen because any big business expects you to go to them. Any big club expects you to go to them. They just didn't use the shops. So our sales were growing massively, but only through us going to the customer rather than them coming to the shops. So the shops were still not being used to the level they should. So,
And so where does that take you in terms of your decision making around the stores?
Well, it was a tough time middle of last year because it was getting to a sort of for a lot of the shops it was that sort of make or break sort of period where
it's the shops that were in the towns, the smaller towns,
and they weren't doing much in the way of extra sales with teamwear and workwear, and they weren't bringing us too much more. The school sales were dropping to a level that was like we couldn't manage, so essentially we had to close a number of the smaller shops. But it was a tough decision. My dad especially, it was like he was devastated about it because it felt like it was ripping the soul out of him because he'd built this up and it felt like it was a backward step. But at the same time, you've got to, we had to look at the bigger picture, that if we didn't do it, it could end up dragging the whole business down.
Yeah.
So
I think we'd give them as big a chance as what we could.
Like try various things.
You looked at like the high street or the street that we were on within these towns, and we were near enough the last shop. You know, like that, the last retail shop. You know, they'd all, in times gone by, there would be like an M&S, a Next, British Home Stores, and slowly but surely over the years, they'd all moved out, maybe to retail parks or wherever they're away. And here we find that we're still the last shop there. And, you know, people did like it, but it's just a sign of the times, you know. It was so decision was kind of made for us. We had to do it, but yeah.
And what about the kind of the I guess the government or the councils and their kind of view on uniforms, school uniforms? What's happening there?
What you go?
Yeah, so there's new school guidance came out then last summer it was, which was fine. You know, it was all kind of off the back of in England the review of the school uniform, but England's a totally different ballgame to in Scotland. So in England, they've got, you know, they name the supplier you've got to go to. You've got 5 or 6 items of uniform, from the jacket, like the jacket that you have to wear, the waterproof coat, to the blazer, to the knitwear, to the shirt. Yeah. Even your trousers and skirts get a school logo on in England, and then they've got the sports kit, which is mandatory as well. So in England, they've got a huge amount of uniform that they've got to buy. Scotland, you don't have that. You know, they might, if it's a high school, they might have a blazer and a bit of knitwear. Primary schools have a sweatshirt and a polo shirt. They generally don't actually have a PE kit, to be honest. So anyways, but because there was a review in England, Scotland's also done a review, released this new guidance, but it's actually just, it was not bad guidance, you know. It was just saying this, there was no change as such. School uniforms, not compulsory, so they can't make you. It's not like in England, I think it is actually law, like legislation, that they can force you to wear school uniform, whereas in Scotland you can't. And yeah, so off the back of this guidance, so there's some councils, Edinburgh councils, one of them, that have taken the guidance to another level and just went for cost-cutting measures and says, let's just stop school uniform. And I don't know. It's not the right thing to do. It's not what the guidance suggests. The guidance suggests just be fair with it. You know, it's not compulsory. Don't have too many items. Make sure there's various places that it can be bought from, which is all fair. But to put like a ban on school uniforms is just not the right thing to do. It's I
think they don't realise that school uniform. I'm saying they don't realise. They possibly do, but they don't realise that it's like it's way more than just the clothes that they wear. It's like the identity. It gives them purpose. It's just like feeling of belonging in the school. You know, there's way more to it just wearing the badge than just the school uniform. And it's, you know, it's so cost effective compared to, you know, a lot of things. You know, if they don't wear a uniform, if they don't wear the school uniform, the branded school uniform, they're only going to wear something else. You know, it's not actually saving them that much money. I know you can go to a supermarket or Primark and you can get something fairly cheap, but for the most part, the kids want to wear a brand. You know, whether it's Nike, Adidas. The craziest one actually just came up the other day, right? And my sister texted to say, "Do you still deal with Lyle and Scott?" And we're like, I've never dealt with Lyle and Scott for maybe 10 years now. She was like, because her son, all his friends, her nephew, they've all got a Lyle and Scott jumper to wear at school because our local school doesn't have a uniform. So they've all got a Lyle and Scott jumper. Can we get a hold of it? Because in the shop they're £120 and she doesn't want to pay £120 for a school jumper. And we're like, no. But he's now being peer pressured because all his pals have got one. So he wants a Lyle and Scott jumper. So now she's away online buying a Lyle and Scott jumper for him. So it's like, it's mad. That's the sort of effect that happens when you don't have school uniform. They wear what they want. And even recently, we're speaking to a girl and she was just saying how the worst day of the year is non-school uniform day, because the pressure that they're under to look good on non-school uniform day.
Having to text their pals, what are you wearing today? What are we? Do you know? It's like, are you going casual? Are you going? What is it?
Yeah.
You know, so it's school uniform just takes all that away. But that's the part that a lot of people don't actually consider. So,
Wow. So what's the future then? Where are you going? Got any cool things you're going to make?
oh, I don't know. But there's the future for BE is probably one of the biggest things we're trying to do is flatten this curve. So we have a huge peak in the summer still with all the school uniforms. So we're trying to complement that by bringing the workwear and teamwear sales up throughout the year. So we're having a big push into workwear and teamwear, which is working. We've got a good partnership with Adidas now. So I think we're one of the specialist suppliers in the north of the UK for bespoke Adidas kits. So that's a good new partnership that we've got going on. And off the back of that as well, we've won the partnership to be the Team Scotland kit supplier for the Commonwealth Games in 2026. So that's quite an impressive one. So it's good. And yeah, we're just going to keep pushing in that direction. So teamwear, workwear, and just like I say, build it up all year round. So that we can just not just busy at that one time a year.
Quick question, just on that. You're saying the Adidas relationship came first, and then the Commonwealth from that. Yeah. How do you develop the relationship with Adidas? How does that come about?
What do you mean? Like, how did we?
Just curious.
Well, we actually, so in 2021, we took on we bought a sportswear business down in Alnwick, Sports World, Northeast. And so we bought the teamwear business there, and off the back of that, we got a lot of rugby kit. And they looked at us and they said they were looking to break into the rugby market. They had just developed various new products, and they identified us as a partner there. So we were like, right, that'll do. So we took that. We went in a rugby partnership, but off the back of that, it's just allowed us to push into other sports. We don't do a huge amount of football, believe it or not, but it's more like specialist sports. So they'll literally call it specialist sports. So it's like hockey, rugby, cricket, golf's one of them. Yeah, so various sports. Essentially every sport except from football, because it's big. So yeah, we do a lot of that. But yeah, other than that, future, I think we're looking to. We do want to expand down the country. That would be the sort of this one of the next goals, and we want to put like strategic hubs in place. So we've got one through in Glasgow now at Hillington. We've got one down in Grangemouth at Little Kerse Sports Complex, and I think we'll probably move down to. Ideally, we want to be in Newcastle. We want to put a better hub in there, and maybe Manchester somewhere. We're maybe that'll be 5-10 year plan. So that's the idea.
And when you say a hub, a production hub, or
we do a bit of production there.
Yeah.
So it's like just a small. It's like a sales office.
Okay.
It'll be a sales office, a showroom, a little bit of retail, a little bit of production. So that's the idea behind it. So you've just got a team working out there, so they're all working together. So like through in Glasgow at the minute, there's maybe 10 of them out of there, and then we've got 5, I think, at Little Kerse down at Grangemouth. So yeah, that's the idea. And then
I think with the coffee shop as well, it's going from strength to strength. So I think probably in time you'll find that there'll be a few more coffee shops opening. Probably within our current shops to begin with, but
interesting.
Maybe some standalone ones as well. You never know.
All right. So will the family move into hospitality more
well
than just coffee shops, perhaps?
On that,
it's a leading question.
Yeah. So just actually 4 weeks ago. Well, yeah, 4 weeks ago it opened, but in November, the local bar and restaurant closed in the village, so it was a bit of a blow to the local community. So the guy that was running it decided just to shut the doors, which was a bit of a surprise to everybody. But so it left us all wondering what we're going to do at weekends, especially my dad. So I after a bit of time, we actually started off a running joke, you know, like people were coming to us saying, "Oh, heard you're buying the Blackadder." And it was just a joke at the time. But after like a few weeks and maybe a month or so went by, this joke ended up turning into a bit of a reality. And my dad's like, you know, I actually fancy the Blackadder, you know, we could make a go of that. That would be good. And we can't let the pub shut. We can't let the pub shut. So, you know, we were on the fence a bit at the start, like, you know, is this a good idea? Is it not a good idea? But we sat down and talked about it, and we thought, you know, if it's going to give my dad something to focus on, as we're kind of trying to edge him out of the business, but this is actually going to give him a focus going forward, because he's not ready to retire. He's still got drive, and so that's what's happened. So yeah, turns out we're now the owners of the Blackadder in Greenlaw, the local pub. So yeah.
Great. And now you get to supply it with workwear.
That's exactly it. But no, it's good. It's going really well, to be fair. So it is keeping my dad busy. You know, he still comes up and sits in his desk in the office, but actually now his thoughts are channeled. A lot of his thoughts are channeled towards the pub.
We ask all our guests, what is your guiding principle in business?
Well, we're run by this, something my grandpa told me, and we always talk about, he always used to say, if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing right. And he always used to drill this into us. Now, so essentially it's all about service. Service is the biggest thing. My dad's all about service. You never let anybody down. So that'll be the biggest thing that we go with just not letting anybody down. Service, and then quality as well. So that's what we're all about.
It's hand in hand.
Yes.
For definite. We always, you know, like there's always, especially in what we do, it's manufacturing, production. There is things that can go wrong at times, you know. So we're no saints, but it's when there is an issue, it's how you fix it. You know, and again, it's just my dad that's instilled that into us. Like, you know, everybody can make mistakes, and as a business, you can make a mistake on a job and whatnot. But it's how you deal with that problem to then go and fix it for the customer.
Go over and above to make it right.
Often that's what builds the best relationships, to be honest. You find is when there has been a problem, and then we've went that extra mile to go and fix it for them. And my dad's quite often, and even still at the forefront of that. I mean, he loves nothing more than at any time of night, in the morning, at a weekend, he'll get an order and go and deliver it to somebody so that they've got it in time for the tournament or the game or the event, if it's a business or whatnot. So yeah, that's what's, yeah.
So your dad is worth listening to, eh?
I definitely is. Sometimes.
That's brilliant. Well done, guys.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story, and we wish you all the luck in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well
Cheers.
done.